going to start off this morning with a little joke. The Pope, a Pope, dies and goes to heaven and meets up with St. Peter, and St. Peter says, come with me, I'll show you your home, and I'll give you a quick tour of heaven, and answer any questions you may have. So St. Peter takes the Pope to this house, pretty nice house, got all the furnishings, pantry's well stocked, nicely decorated, and the Pope's like, wow, this is great. I've always lived in the Vatican. Well, not always, but I lived in the Vatican. Had a small room, modest things, and this is great. This is it's like I never died, right? So he says, come on, St. Peter says, come on, I'll give you a tour of heaven. So they go out into heaven, and St. Peter's showing them all the recreational areas and coffee shops, and the Pope noticed that there's this like huge mansion in the background. He says, what's that place? He's like, oh, that's I'll tell you about that later. No, don't worry about it. So they go on the tour, and train stations and stuff like that, whatever heaven is like. And St. Peter just can't, and the Pope just can't get his mind off that mansion in the background. It's huge. It's very ornate, and got fountains and stuff in front. So they go on their tour, and at the end of the tour, the Pope says, you got to tell me, what's that big mansion? Is that where God lives? And St. Peter says, no, God lives everywhere. He doesn't really need a house. I said, well, is it a theater? What is that place? And St. Peter kind of him-hauls around. And he says, well, that's where our lawyer lives. And the Pope, he's kind of incensed. He's like, what? I'm the Pope. I've devoted my life to God, and I was the head of the Catholic Church. How can this be? I get a modest little house, and the lawyer gets a big, huge mansion. And St. Peter says, well, you don't understand. We got lots of popes in heaven. We only have one lawyer. Boom, boom. So with that, today's topic, I'm just going to put this out there, given the current events, about religion and people being offended when somebody makes a joke about religion, or a religious joke, or just anything that offends the senses of that religion, whatever that religion is, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or whatever. But I'm just going to focus in on Christianity because, I know a little bit more about Christianity than any other religion. But to me, if you call yourself a Christian and if you follow Christ's teachings, to me that's what it means, is following Christ's teachings. And there's some other discussions and some other videos I had saying their opinion, and I don't disagree, their opinion of or their definition of what a Christian is to be Christ-like, and I agree, but to me, that means to try to be Christ-like. I mean, if I was already Christ-like, I wouldn't, I'd be Christ. I'd be perfect. I wouldn't need to try. Anyway, but to me, to be a Christian is to try to live by Christ's teachings, knowing that I will fail, but it's not about, it's less about achieving than about trying. It's more about what I've said in the past. It's more about the journey than about the destination. A little cliche there for you. But as a Christian, I used to be incensed. I used to be offended by jokes about either, you know, my nationality or anything like that, you know. But one, if you're a Christian, you're taught to love everybody, even your enemies. Right? Doesn't mean trust them. It just means love them, you know. And if somebody makes a joke or somebody offends you, you know, Christ teaches you to love them, still love them. Two, I've kind of heard this from somebody, I mean, years past, that people don't think that some religious jokes or jokes in general are funny, and that, you know, God doesn't have a sense of humor. And this person said, well, you know, that's ridiculous, because God created us and everything about us. So, I mean, if you believe that, then you would have to believe that God, you know, God is called the great physician. He created the heavens and the earth. If that's your belief, then, you know, as a Christian, if you believe that, then God also created comedy. God created science. God created engineering. God created art. God created it all. So God is the ultimate comedian. I mean, He has a sense of humor. He created humor, and humor is a good thing. Humor, there's scientific, quote unquote, proof that, you know, people who laugh a lot, or people who have a good sense of humor, albeit some comedians are pretty are pretty depressed, but anyway, people who laugh a lot and people who have a lot of fun, good fun, I guess, clean fun, are supposedly healthier. So humor is a good thing. You know, and I would think that God, the maker of the universe, could take a joke. Now I don't get offended as much. I trust me, I still get offended, but as with anything, you know, I used to get angry. I used to get depressed. I used to, you know, all the negative sides of personality. I still have those emotions. I'm human, but it just seems that they don't last as long, and they're not as intense. You know, feelings of anger, feelings of denial, feelings of offensiveness, I guess. I don't have that so much anymore. The longer I try to follow Christ's teachings. So I just leave that there. What do you think? Do you think God has a sense of humor? Do you think God wants us to laugh and joke about things in general, you know, including religion? So anyway, have a good day. God bless, and I'll see you later.